For the past few updates, MiHoYo have been slowly incorporating all the alternative medias into the game story, one of which deals directly with the latest chapter, which is the Durandal visual novel. In this video, I will be telling you what this novel is all about, whether you should read it, or watch a summary of this thing from a guy on YouTube. The Durandal visual novel, like with any other novels MiHoYo released, wasn't translated to English. So if you're looking to read it for yourself, you need to rely on fan translation and some Google Translate. You can read it from the links that I put down below in the description, but please don't click away yet. The premise of this novel is really simple. We follow Durandal and Rita in their mission to explore a bubble world in the Sea of Quanta. It's basically a reimagined Genshin Impact storyline, like traveling through various places and getting extremely sidetracked.
I wanna leave and you got the audacity to...
Most of this novel is spent learning about various historical figures reimagined as anime girls, with some exceptions, along with many cultures based on various regions of the world. This novel has helped me pass my college history test by the sheer amount of historical reference this novel threw at me, but that's besides the point. The point is, there are a lot of information that just doesn't matter to the actual storyline. Super early into the novel, Durandal got sidetracked into gathering the Infinity Stones to assemble a powerful weapon. These gems are spread over different regions of the world which Durandal will need to travel to. These regions would have her witness its history and cultures, which would inevitably drag down the pacing of the story for those who's not into historical stuff. One time you're trying to get a hold of a gem and suddenly you're learning about the principles of evolution. I wouldn't recommend reading it unless you're someone who enjoys historical reference or are willing to wade through a lot of information that just don't matter. So what if you want to spend your time doing something else and still want to get the stuff you need to know out of this novel? Well, that's why I went ahead and finished this so you don't have to. And here's what you should know. This novel focuses on the name Durandal. Before the name, she used to call herself by Bianca. Did I say it right? Anyway, Bianca was the name that Otto gave her when she woke up with a memory loss on a hospital bed. Her backstory can be boiled down to that she's a prodigy, stronger than anybody. She was once cared for by Ragnar, Himiko's mentor. Yeah, she also met Himiko too. We got a slight glimpse into what it was like when Ragnar died by the hand of a reawakened Syrian in Siberia. Bianca's personality in this novel is completely different from the her we see in-game. This Bianca was much more in line with Kiana before everything happened. This kinda ties into the theory of Durandal being the real Kiana, but that's besides the point of this video. Remember the gems she needed to gather? Yeah, those gems are needed to reconstruct the Holy Sword Durandal, which she would name herself after, and is what she was seen holding in many promotional art for the latest chapter, along with this armor. So how did we get here? The world she and Rita went to in the novel needed saving, so the pair did just that. They reconstructed the Holy Sword Durandal using the gems they got from their journey. They thought they succeeded, but instead stuff happened that would make the world slowly decay into nothing. To stop this, one of the persons in the group hatched a genius plan, which I don't actually understand. Basically, it called for Bianca to stuff this bubble universe inside her body, which would apparently stop the decay somehow for as long as she is alive. The goal was to delay the decay for now in order to find a way to sustainably stabilize it in the future. This goal is what will be carried over into her adulthood along with her involvement with Otto, which I will cover in greater details in my upcoming video about Durandal coming next week, so stay tuned. Apart from Durandal, we also get some tidbits from other characters like Rita, who is actually British, that was saved by Ragnar, who was working as a maid while also doing Valkyrie work. The young Rita decided to follow her footsteps, which led to the Rita we see today. Another familiar face that popped up was Shigure Kira. This Kira is actually the same one from the actual world. If you remember, the last time we saw her was in Second Eruption, where she and Nigurath fought and won against Benares. She was knocked out after that and her fate wasn't known. That is until you read this novel. So what happened was that Kira was isekai'd into this bubble world by the help of the Sugars. What is the Sugars, you say? They are aliens. Dimensional hopping aliens to be exact. Nigurath, who kicked the bucket in this fight, was the host of the Sugar. Because her body expired, the Sugar decided to latch onto the unconscious Kira and took her to this bubble world instead. Kira kinda felt sad about all the Honkai wars and stuff going on in her old world, so she decided to stay in this bubble world and become an idol instead. This basically canonized the Sugars that appear in Posenkai Odyssey related manga Alien Space, which basically puts the argument of Posenkai Odyssey not being canon to the grave. Also, Nigurath is not technically dead as the consciousness is still in the form of the Sugar. I don't know how this works, okay? Another character that used to be from Anti-Entropy is Dr. Schrodinger. I haven't read the AE visual novel yet, so I can't tell you her whole story, but what I can tell you is that there was an accident that left her wandering in the Sea of Quanta. And it just so happens that she was able to reach this bubble world. She acts as the know-it-all of the story. These people make up the core of the gang. Near the end of the novel, they were unfortunately forced to part ways. Durandal and Rita had a recall device which guaranteed safe passage back to their world. But Kira and Schrodinger wasn't as lucky, as they were thrown back into the Sea of Quanta. Their fate was left unknown until Chapter 25EX today. The poor Schrodinger was left stranded in the sea, while Kira was saved by the Sugar and have been getting to know them better. This latest chapter directly mentioned the events from Alien Space, which if you haven't read it yet, I recommend you do, though I think it's not necessary. So that was a short rundown of what you need to know going into Chapter 25EX. If there are anything important you thought I should have mentioned, feel free to leave it down below. I hope you all got something out of this, and I will see you next time.